yet another beautiful day on Your Image, your public relations program on TV. We are back again on the topic of domestic violence, gender issues, and the society. Last week, we were looking at what constitutes domestic violence or an abuse, and we've been able to also look into what are the symptoms and what are the remedies. This time around, we are going to look into gender issues. And here I have with me Barrister Olusola Efunkomaya. She is a legal practitioner. Madam, you're welcome once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your contribution last week. And I also have Dr. Olubukonla Idowu. She is a gender expert and also from the Citadel of Ladi, Federal University of Agriculture. You're welcome, madam.
Yes, thank you, sir.
So, last week, we practically demonstrated and explained how people should understand, or what people should understand about domestic violence. Now, we want to focus on gender issues. And I'm happy that you are all female. Why are women or girls more prone to these issues? Let me start with Dr.
Thank you, sir. Well, looking at the domestic violence, the study have showed us that women are prone more to domestic violence. And then the perpetrator,
why?
Because maybe we are weaker vessels, let me put it that way. And then the perpetrator of this domestic violence that we're talking about is men. 90% of men are the perpetrator of this domestic violence that we are talking about, while women carry lesser or small percentage of this domestic violence.
Well, that belief, that philosophy is subject to criticism. We may not conclude on that.
Okay,
then I ask the lawyer, do you agree that because women are weaker vessels, and that is why they are the victims?
Yes,
because a school of thought also has it that
some men are recipient of domestic violence.
Some women are also overreaching,
Yes.
and that is the cause for all this domestic violence. How do you explain that?
Like the first question is, yes, women are largely the victims of domestic violence. Like my doctor said, that probably because they are weaker vessels. Yes, that is the large contribution to that. Then on the other hand too, you have in a few percent, because domestic violence, first thing I want to make it that domestic violence is not gender based.
Okay.
It cuts across. Yes. It goes either way. They're just that it thinks more on the ladies' side as victims. Then, okay.
No. Go.
Okay. So then there are few occasions or instances that have been recorded that men are on the receiving end. But on the physical aspect of it is not much, maybe 1 out of 10. But the other aspect of abuse that women hold the power, probably in terms of economy, like the economic power or social power. So there you have the economic abuse, violence, social violence. Probably the woman or in an organization where the woman is at the head, probably she needs attention of the guy, and someone he is not tending towards the lady favorably. So she may want to use a position to overreach the guy. So in that instance, you can say that the guy there is a victim of domestic abuse or victim of abuse or sexual, depending on the nature of what's going on there.
Thank you very much. Why is it that almost every night the reports we get has it that women are victims? I'm saying that because some men, probably for the thinking that it will be something untoward or something that you cannot really present they are unable to voice out. Is it as a reason that men cannot voice the issues of violence against them?
Looking at the domestic violence on its own, it is all encompassing. Looking at it, it is not only just like I said the other time, it is not only the men that are perpetrators, but they are on the higher percentage. When we are talking about the domestic violence cut across adult abuse. It cut across the violence against the disabilities. Okay. It cut across the violence in the place of work. It cut across the child abuse, and it also cut across the sexual and then the cutting abuse. So all these things, looking at it, has different perpetrators for each of these domestic violence that I have just mentioned. So when we're talking about the adult abuse, looking at it, we see that the children are their most perpetrator. And there is no longer a news also that the domestic staff that they employ, it could be, yes, also be their perpetrator. We have listened to so many news where the domestic staff, they kill whom they ask to watch over. We have heard the news where they transfer the money from their accounts to their own. We have heard the news where the children too, they didn't take care of their children or their parents. So it depends. The perpetrator depends on the kinds of the abuse, the domestic abuse that we are talking about. Looking at the child abuse, the perpetrator of the child abuse cut across the men. There is something that we call a pedophile. Pedophile means that those people that are strong, that have strong feelings for the youngest ones. So because they know that they have power and control over them, because they don't have the feelings, they don't get any feelings from the adult or from the relationship. So for that reason, they think that, oh, this little girl, is available, so I can do anything with that thing. So it depends. The domestic violence depends on the kinds, the perpetrator of each domestic violence depends on the kinds of the abuse that we have in the society.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. When you look at the less privileged, why are they also prone? Is it because of their being weak, being the weak persons in the society?
That is just it. Less privilege. That means they.
So when people take on the advantage of
they do exactly. Because of their
so what is the law doing to protect them?
Yes, you have the law that protection for young, weak people, weak persons. I think it has to do with the Lagos State Law 2007, probably Section 18 or something. It has to do with protection of weak people that are weak. That is in that category, less privileged, physically disabled, and all that.
So there's no national policy, only Lagos State.
Not only Lagos, but that is the one I'm familiar with. My properties in Lagos State before we did that to Ogun State, and in Lagos State you have all this. Is very rampant, is there. So you have their cases on almost a weekly basis. So that is the law we are used to. Of course, it's like it is in the Constitution that under their rights to not to be discriminated against by reason of your birth, by reason of your status, by reason of your physical abilities. So it's the Constitution protects the weak ones as well. But the sessions, each state has to pick from and make law in their state, like the Lagos State Criminal Code is there, Section 18, yes, if I'm right, Section 18 of the protection against weak people, it's there. So the law protects them. Then the question now is, you can't sit like we are here. We cannot just be going. It's only when people bring their cases or they get to report matters to us, or it comes to our attention, that we can act or take action.
Which organizations can these people approach when they are having issues like this?
Yeah, one of such organizations is Mercy Link. There are non-governmental agencies. Then when you talk of government agency, you have the police is there. Then you have social welfare, like the women affairs is there. Then you have, now recently you have the human rights human rights offices. You can approach them as well. They are there too. So you can also approach, the office of the public defender is there, and there are non-governmental organizations like Mercy Link is also available. So you can approach any of those people if you find yourself in such situation.
Madam, we have often found out that at times some people are the originators of all this violence that we are talking about, attacks and the like. How do you hope to address this issue, particularly the modern day young ladies, the way they dress, the way they appear in the public and the like?
That is another issue on its own, because there is need for the society or the government to address this issue, the way ladies dress. Because sometimes somebody was telling me that men are attracted with the way ladies dress. But when we are talking about the lady, they are being attracted with what they hear. So just like the child abuse too, they are being affected with what they see, what they feel, and what they think, and what they experience. For instance now, if a parent is wearing a spaghetti dress for a child, a girl child, by the time she is growing up, she will think that it is normal for me to wear a spaghetti, to be showing my cleavage, simply because right from her babies, the mother has been wearing, exactly. So she has been seeing it, that this is how my mother dressed for me. She has been experiencing it, and then she has been feeling it. So that thing will definitely affect the cognitive of a girl child. So there is more for the government to do to address. If by the time they disgrace them publicly, if by the time they flog them openly, maybe by doing so, I think the way they dress, even the use of men doing dread outside there, is nothing to write home about. It's nothing to write home about, because all these things did not portray a good example of a society.
Thank you, madam. An issue just came up, and we are quick to be referring to government.
Exactly.
Government.
What
is the role of the family?
Yes.
And that is just one. Two, when we say that law enforcement agents should apprehend, of course, some lawyers will also come up to say that there is a fundamental human right, there is a free movement, free association, free this and all that. So how do we overcome all this?
Like, first thing I want to address is that the way a lady dresses is not an excuse for a man to sexually harass the lady, or
it attracts them.
It's not an excuse, and it's not even a defense. You cannot go to court and they say because there is not the way she was dressing, that's why I sexually harassed her. No, it is not. If you dress, good luck to you. But the one thing I know, fine, the culture, the mode of dressing.
Society frowns at indecent dressing. So how do we describe indecent dressing?
That is the question. How do you describe indecent dress? You start showing, like Madam just said, showing of cleavage, love stuff and everything. The question now is, if I'm going out and I have an occasion, probably I'm going for a picnic, or I'm going for an exercise, I'm going for a party. It's different the way that I would dress, that I'm going to an office, I'm going to work. So if I'm going to a party now, I'm at the bus stop, trying to flag down a cap. So you now come to me and tell because you're attracted to I'm attracted to the way I'm dressing and you start advancing me. No.
I hope that's not a women liberation issue.
Constitution protects the woman that there cannot be discriminated against because of
or is it because of the influence of the global village?
Everything.
How do we?
So like they mentioned something that the home is basically responsible, not the government.
Yes.
Okay.
It's the family. He said charity begins at home.
Yes.
So it's the family where this decade started from. It's the family. So you cannot put the blame on the government. There is nothing the government can do.
No, just to enforce the law.
But there is a Yoruba adage that it is very difficult to.
The way you appear is
the way you be addressed.
Well, it's
it has to be noted that your manner of dressing is not an excuse. The way a lady dresses is not an excuse for sexual abuse.
Well, that's a good excuse for some of the ladies, but it also has a far-reaching effect on the country.
You go to court, you face the law, you dance to the music. So you cannot put that as a defense and it will not avail you.
Okay. What our concern here is how to keep the society going, how to ensure that there is sanity and that the culture, values, and tradition we are Africans must be sustained. Maybe that's why people are advocating that there's need for more education, more orientation, so that we can be able to address ourselves, project our culture, operate within the framework of being African. So come.
Okay. See, if we should go that way, Africa, how do ladies dress in Africa before they have it on them? Similar white man.
The modest way, no? They dress in the modest manner. Yes. Yes.
They have their body exposed. Yes. Have you not watched all these Igbo movies? The only place they cover is their boobs and their private parts. Every other part of their body is open. And the men they go about their work and business, they don't abuse them.
So what is the problem? What is the problem now?
Yeah, the problem now is what the parents, because of now, like when we were growing up, our parents don't have time to tell us what to do and what not to do. Then now parents don't have the time.
So moral education
is
from
the home, moral instruction.
Okay. So what do you have to say to that?
Just like Madam said, my parent doesn't have time to take care, to educate their children again, and the value starts from home, and then the little you can address your children will go a longer way. Don't do this, don't do that. This is how you should do it, this is how you should do that. But now, what the parents expect that the children should be taught in the school. School cannot be taught, everything cannot be taught at school. So, charity begins at home. So, just like that, even the churches, the mosque, we must even imbibe this character in their lives. So, government can enforce the law.
Will you say the religious organizations are not doing their best?
There are some that are lagging behind.
Like?
I can't mention, but
no, I'm not asking you to specifically mention.
The kinds of preaching, the way they dress, the way they are dressed, they overlook at everything simply because they want the crowd in the church. So the kinds of messages is somehow watering.
Yeah, like some pastors that most pastors are motivational speakers.
Yes.
They call themselves pastors that they are preaching. Whereas what they are giving is motivation, trying to motivate the youth or people to do this, to do that. But what I'm saying is that, like, to be fair, churches, religious organizations, they are contributing their quotas in order to reduce this societal heat in order to don't, they are preaching against it, using the Bible and the Quran. They are also organizing seminars as well. Then you have non-governmental organizations. They are doing that. There was one I watched on the TV. I think it was organized by the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, something. They are educating the women, trying to empower them, and they're asking them not to be jobless, not to have something doing. The part of the things that contributed to domestic violence is joblessness.
Exactly.
Well, I want to be funny now. How do you address or advise men to curb this issue of gender violence against them?
Like, what we can do, best advice for men is to tell the man, don't beat your wife. No matter what you do. 3 ways to avoid and curb your anger. Is it that you keep silent or you walk away? So the
best you keep silent
or you walk away.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I also want to say that
the fear of the Lord is just the beginning of all, is the beginning of wisdom. If there is fear of the Lord, by the time you are about, maybe you want to commit any sexual abuse, the fear will just be there for you that what I am about to do is not of God.
And that's an area that I really want us to touch, more so that the thing affects care of the young ones. How do we protect our young ones, talking about babies and the like in the homes?
Teaching them, because for instance now, if you have a girl child, telling them that you don't allow a boy child to tap your bum bum. Tell them that a boy child, you should not sit on their lap. Teach them that they should not touch their breast. Even teach them the kinds of dress that they should put on. And the most important thing is that they should speak up.
Any role for the technology?
Yes, like you have some dramas. Yes, exactly.
Well, we can't all tackle the issues concerning domestic violence or domestic abuse, so to say. It is a societal thing, and what we have realized is that we need education, we need enlightenment, we need to imbibe cultural attitude that protect and protect us positively. We also need to build a cohesive family, one that we can be proud of, that will enhance our image. Well, I want to thank Barrister Olusola Efunkomaya, who has been with us for the past 2 weeks. Madam, you're welcome.
It's my pleasure.
And I also want to appreciate Dr. Olubukonla, Idowu, a gender expert.
Thanks for the honor, sir.
Scholar.
Yes, sir.
In FUNAM. Academic.
Yes, sir.
And also a scholar. Yeah, both combined. Until next week, I want to say thank you for being with us to this very interesting topic that we have addressed, and I hope viewers will take heed to all the advices given. Until next week, I'm still Anchor-Akin Okudero, your uncle. Stay blessed.